In federal court today, a legal showdown between lawyers for former President Trump and East Bay Congressman Eric Swalwell. He is now suing the president for the January 6 riots. CBS reporter Skyler Henry is live with how Trump's lawyers want that case tossed out.
Well, Ryan, some of the lawsuits filed by some of those House Democrats also include not only former President Trump, but members of his inner circle, including his son, Donald Trump Jr., as well as his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, among others, all alleging that that group actually was involved in conspiring to incite a crowd of supporters for the former president to actually breach the Capitol. The president, or the former president, I should say, is claiming absolute immunity. So are others within his inner circle. His legal team saying he did nothing illegal.
A federal judge in Washington, D.C. heard arguments on whether 3 civil lawsuits accusing former President Donald Trump of inciting the January 6th Capitol assault can proceed. 2 cases were brought by Bay Area Congressman Eric Swalwell and a group of House Democrats led by January 6th Committee Chair Benny Thompson. 2 members of the U.S. Capitol Police Force filed a 3rd suit seeking damages for physical and emotional injuries they say they suffered from the riot.
It often is difficult to draw lines between what is said and what happens, particularly when the person who's making the statements isn't the person actually taking the actions to physically harm somebody.
Lawyers for the former president want the lawsuits dismissed, claiming he has absolute immunity.
In part, what the former president is arguing is that he can't be sued because he was president at the time, and what the statements that he was making were official acts, that they were part of his official duties.
Meanwhile, here on Capitol Hill, another key Trump ally, Congressman Jim Jordan, is refusing to cooperate with the House Select January 6th committee that's investigating the attack on the U.S. Capitol.
The committee asked for a voluntary meeting last month, calling the Ohio Republican a material witness, given his direct contacts with former President Trump on January 6th. In a letter, Mr. Jordan wrote he has no confidence that the Select Committee will fairly or accurately represent any information he could provide. A committee spokesperson accused the congressman of trying to hide the facts and says the panel will consider appropriate next steps in the coming days.
Now, you'll remember that the former president was supposed to speak about January 6th on the day 1 year ago, a few days ago, but now he is actually said to speak on Saturday at an Arizona rally where he'll not only talk about what happened on January 6th, but the investigations in and of itself.
And Skyler, back to the lawsuits against the former president. This isn't the only case he's having to deal with.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, there are several others. Some of the legal experts that we spoke with say that they actually see this going on for quite some time, operating in somewhat of a parallel track where you'll have these civil cases like what we see here, and then also obviously the criminal investigations that are happening as well on all sorts of levels, from the federal level to state levels as well. And they really don't see this being some sort of class action situation where, say, a group of injured officers perhaps sues the president or members of his inner circle at some point in time collectively. But we may perhaps see these things sort of happen on an individual case-by-case basis as we continue to move forward with all of this.
All right. Thank you very much, Skyler. Reporting live from Washington, D.C.